I just used some TPU or thermoplastic polyurethane filament in my 3D print pen, and it jammed it pretty bad. So I'm taking the thing apart now. Can you see that? It's a transparent yellow. It's actually really nice, and I was able to use it. It just eventually clogged everything up. It's because the pen doesn't quite get hot enough for it. So if your pen or printer can use TPU, it's a really strong, flexible plastic. Thought I'd be able to just pull it out if only I could see the filament, and here it is, and it's not coming out. So I'm gonna have to unscrew the motor from the case. So there it is. It was really stuck. Finally coming out. Putting the nozzle back on so I can see if it works. To test this out, I'm going to be using this guy. This is a Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe. I'm going to turn him into a zombie type creature, seeing as it's Halloween already, according to the stores. So my little screwdriver can't quite unscrew this screw in his back. The one with the bigger handle can't get in the hole in his back. So I'm just going to make that hole a bit wider with the Dremel. It's all the G.I. Joes that were made before the 25th anniversary use a little rubber ring called an O-ring for their waist movement, which is fine except that the rubber eventually rots and breaks. So I'm just going to make it so he doesn't need the O-ring. This time the filament I'm using is TPE, or thermoplastic elastomer. Melts at a much lower temperature than TPU. There's a little silver bar that connects his legs together and then hooks the O-ring normally. So I am just using the TPE to glue it in place. I'll put his upper body back together. I'm not going to use the screw that was in there. I'm just going to use the TPE to stick them together. I'm also going to be dramatically altering his body proportions, starting by elongating his torso. I'm just sort of hovering it over his legs until the molten plastic in between cools. Alright, that's probably good enough. Next is going to be to make the limbs longer, starting with this leg. Cutting it with this sawing disc in pretty much the only place that I can. It's right above the knee and below the upper part of the leg. I want to avoid messing up any of the moving parts in this leg. And I just attach it back together with some plastic. Normally I would have to be a little more careful and then go back and clean it up later, but since I'm making this scary looking zombie type character, it doesn't really matter. Actually, all that dripping and mess is welcome here. It makes it look more interesting. Okay, his legs are the same length and he can stand on his own. That's good. That's all I care about. Now his feet. So I'm just going to keep going through, and each limb is going to be cut 2 times, the upper and the lower part. And that'll extend his height by quite a bit. Oh, and I'm digging into the end of each limb where I made the cut so that the plastic will be able to hold it together better. I'm going to fill this in with a little aluminum foil just to get the bulk of his lower leg. Otherwise, I would be building up that plastic for a little bit too long. And don't worry about the leg being weakened for having aluminum foil inside it, because ideally it would be hollow anyway, and now it just has a little extra inside. So that's the basic idea here. For the next few minutes, it's just going to be chopping off limbs and reattaching them so they're longer. I think I'm going to elongate the torso a little bit more and rough it up a little. Okay, I've got them stretched out. Now I'm just going to fill that in. Okay, so he's a little bit taller now, and also it's starting to get the look like there are strings hanging down, and it just kind of looks like a disgusting zombie monster thing. Now we're gonna open up his mouth a little bit. I'm gonna put some big, scary teeth in there. Make that head a little bigger. I'm going to take the head off and then put it back on with a more modern ball and socket configuration. So I'm building up the neck, and it's going to end in a sphere at the end, and that's going to fit into a hole I'm going to dig underneath his head. So his head will be able to rotate, and you'll be able to pop it off like you would want in a zombie character, I think. So just wait until it's cool enough to touch, but still moldable. And I'm sculpting it into a ball with my fingers. Now I'm digging a big enough hole in the bottom of his head for that joint that I just made. Alright, let's try it on. That works. Now I'm going to make some hands. The closed hands he's got are not going to work. I want open hands with long fingers. So quite a bit of work happened off camera here, accidentally. So, whoops. So you can see I did more of a skull shape for his face. Now I'm going to cut out some individual fingers here. Now I'm placing his hand on a flat surface so that I can extend the fingers a little bit and gravity won't take them down. Not really working so great. I'm just going to make the fingers separately and then attach them. Okay, now we got some like messy tree branch looking fingers. Now let's do similar for his toes. So just like with the fingers, make the individual toes and then attach them. He looks weird. That's it for now. And if you're eager for more Garcia Hotspur videos, don't worry, I've got a few that I'm still editing right now, and I hope to have those out soon. I mainly just did this as a fun little exercise, just because I want to keep in the habit of putting something out every week. Well, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. Hey, look, I got 30 now. That's pretty good. Making progress.